exceptional wellness members. It is finally time for us to start our learning journey together on what it means to be exceptionally well and to really start digging in and learning together. Been really wanting to get towards getting this content out to you guys, so I'm excited to start here. Exceptional wellness is here to educate, equip, and empower you to be your most exceptionally well self. And we're going to dive right in. But before I do, I want to kind of give an overview of what we'll be doing in these sessions. So you all who are part of our clinic get one-on-one coaching as part of your membership. And sometimes there are things that would be really nice to review or to go back to once you're done with coaching. So we wanted to be able to create this content that is a little bit more general, and you still get your one-on-one coaching and always will. But like I said, this just allows us to give you more information, and you can rewind, replay, whatever. Full disclaimer, I have created no science on my own. I have just learned a lot over a couple of decades, and so we will be sharing with you from lots of different experts. I will keep a pretty good book list if you want to read the books that I've read or stay up to date on some of the science. I will always share those resources with you so you can dig in deeper. And I will also always try to give you a very high level, step-by-step in each video so that you can have that information that might be actionable. If you don't feel like reading anymore, I can hand it over to you what I've learned and distill to you what I've learned and what you can put into practice. You can always reach out with any questions. We are here to serve you. So let's get into it. Key number 1 is optimizing nutrition. So, what does that look like? So many times I have members who come in and it's like, what do I eat? How much do I eat? Where do I start? A lot of times they may have tried lots of different diets and nutrition programs and things over the years and gotten frustrated because they didn't work or they didn't know how to implement it. So the answer to what do I eat is a little bit individual. I will tell you there's some general principles that everyone should follow, and I'm going to give those to you real quick here in a minute. And then how much to eat also is individualized, but there are some parameters that are good for everyone. And then where to start, I will also get into that here in just a second. So those are the 3 questions that we're going to cover today when it comes to nutrition. So what to eat? The main thing is you got to understand that, our body, and you probably know this, but I don't always stop to think about it. We are what we eat. It is real. So every one of our cells is made up of either things that we have had to eat or things that our body made from the things that we've eaten. So that's kind of crazy to think about, but you literally are what you eat. So we know that we need to put good stuff into our body. What is good stuff? So one key thing that you are going to hear me talk a lot about is protein. We need lots of protein, and we need about 1 gram per lean muscle mass that we have on our body. And our members all get that in-body scan, so you know what that number is. So like for me, I need at least 65 to 67 grams of protein a day. That is my bare minimum. I can't go lower than that, or I'm going to be destroying my muscle. It's going to be hard for my body to repair itself. I know that I absolutely have to get that. Now, I shoot for around 100 to 120 grams, and that is because I am active. If you are active at all, and depending on your level of activity, a safe range of, and you're not going to overdo it on protein, okay? If you overdo it on protein, you're probably going to overdo it in the other areas that we're going to talk about. So it's very hard for you to overdo it, and if you do, it's just going to be a little bit more for your body to try to digest, and, like I said, very rare that you're going to overdo it on protein. And so it's not dangerous for you to do so unless you have some kind of kidney problem and the doctors told you not to have protein, but that would not probably be any of our members because, we're focusing on people who have room to grow. And if you're not on dialysis a couple times a week, then you are probably safe to eat plenty of protein. And if you are on dialysis every week, I'm really sorry, and we can talk about that in your one-on-one coaching sessions. So focusing on getting enough protein, that safe range is going to be between that 1 gram per, when you get your little in-body, it tells you, I have this many pounds of muscle mass. That's the number I'm talking about. So, like I said, I have about, depends on how well I'm doing in the gym, around 65 to 67 pounds of muscle on my body. And so I need to support that with at least 1 gram of protein. And then I can go up to about 2 grams for every 1 of those pounds of lean mass. Like I said, I like to try to get between 100 to 120 grams of proteins. That's my body. You can use your numbers to figure that number out. But many of you have seen, and I will share this over again, when we get to how much to eat, okay, I tell you to use your hand, right? So you take your own hand, which is going to be to your body size, and the palm of your hand, okay, both in the size around and the width, is about how much protein you need 3 times a day if you're sedentary, so you're not doing any exercise. And if you are doing exercise, you could have 1 to 2 more servings a day. So I judge it based on energy level. If you're feeling tired, then that's probably a pretty good sign. If you're only eating 3, right? And you're like, I don't feel like I really did anything, but I'm feeling tired, eat 1 more. You might just need a little bit more protein, a little bit more nutrition. Your body is really good actually at telling you when you need more food. So I like to use the hand method. So this is our protein, and our fingers should make up our vegetable sources, okay? And you want as much as you can to get your vegetables from things that grow above the ground, okay? Anything that goes in the ground, like a potato, you're just gonna limit those a little bit more, okay? Doesn't mean you can't have them, but those starchier vegetables are gonna be more limited. But the ones that make up this portion, have as much as you want, and that's the rest of your plate, okay? Now, things that aren't vegetables or meat, or some kind of protein source for those who don't eat meat, then those are going to be in sparing. So, just know that like bread, not that you can't have it, but it's not going to be part of that nutritional of what should I eat, okay? It's going to be lagniappe. Know that it is lagniappe. Anything that you're taking in extra outside of those things are going to be not helping with your nutrition. They're just going to be added calories. Don't care how much added calories you add in. I care mostly that you start, and this is where to start with getting adequate nutrition. A lot of times people will start with, what do I need to take away? What do I need to take out of my diet? And when you're looking at lifestyle and you're looking at doing something long term, you need to start with, what do I need to have in my diet? What do I need to make sure I'm getting? And we'll talk more about that when we talk about your hormones, we talk about your sleep, and we talk about your gut. But none of the rest of your body is going to do all of the processes that it needs to do in order to support you if you do not have the adequate nutrition intake. So I want you to focus first on, what am I putting in, okay? And we'll worry about how to tweak getting out the things that you don't need that are hurting you in other ways later. But I really want you to focus in on, look at my palm. Am I getting the protein I need? Am I getting the vegetables I need? Okay? And think about your activity level. Okay? So those are the places I want you to start. Just start really, like, you have your hand with you everywhere you go, unless you don't have a hand. I have a friend who's only got one, but he's got one. And so, anyways, hopefully you have a hand with you. If you don't, send me your plate. I will tell you how to do it. But for most people, you have your hand with you and you can figure that out, right? You know if I did any kind of activity, if I'm feeling tired or not. 5 is the max though, okay? Unless you're some professional athlete and your job is to work out, that's gonna meet your needs, okay? I do CrossFit and I do other workouts. A lot of times I'll do 2 a day. 5 is plenty for me. And I keep my muscle mass. I stay with plenty of energy. So I promise 5's enough, even for my guys out there, because guys can take in a lot more nutrition and they need to. All right, so like I said, our key number 1 is we are going to focus on getting in the nutrition that we need. And do you remember how much protein we need? Give me a second to think about it. 1 gram per lean muscle mass pound that you have. So at least 1 gram. I'd really like it to see it closer to that 1.5. But when you start, if you're looking at your hand and you're saying, I don't eat that much meat in a whole day, just work on, let's do at least 2 of these, right? Maybe 3 is way far away from where you are right now. I didn't eat a lot of meat whenever I first started looking at my nutrition. I ate a lot of I would binge and eat, and I would eat a lot of grains and a little bit of chicken. And I didn't know why I wasn't keeping the weight the way I needed to. Well, it's because my hormones were all out of whack because I did not have enough of the right nutrition that I was getting in. And that's why I say focus on intake first, okay? So we'll get deeper into all of these things as we grow and learn, but I just really wanted to start with something, where to start. Because I think that's a really hard thing for a lot of folks is where do I start with nutrition? So real quick, I'm going to teach you something about habits. So let me turn this a little bit. Many of you who have been through a coaching session with me have done this. I stole this from the Tiny Habits book, which a lot of what you're learning today came out of 2 different books, okay? One, I'm looking at both of them. One is the UltraMind solution. I really felt like the whole first chapter of this book is like a manifesto that Dr. Hyman wrote for all of us medical providers who want to actually do health for our folks. Trying to get this light, sorry, a little closer. It gets dark in here. So that's one of the books. The other book is Tiny Habits, which I thought I had in front of you. I love this because it makes it so simple to learn how to create a new habit. So when you're thinking about where to start, okay, let's just say I just told you a whole bunch of stuff about nutrition. You're like, man, what am I going to do? If I'm going to eat more protein, how do I do that, okay? So I'm going to tell you, I'm going to build the habit as if I'm doing this back in 2005 spring days, whenever I first really started getting serious about my nutrition, okay? So this sticky says impact, low impact, easy, hard, okay? And when he talks about it in the book, Tiny Habits, he talks about, we need to focus on these golden behaviors, things that are pretty easy for us to do and are going to have a significant impact. So when we're thinking about nutrition, for me, one of the things that I knew made it difficult for me to get in the right amount of calories was actually I was drinking a whole lot of coffee and creamer. And so I actually drank, we had these 32-ounce cups, and I would probably drink about 4 or 5 of them throughout the day with a whole lot of creamer in there. And I didn't really think about it until I started journaling what I was eating. And I started writing down proteins, fats, and carbs. You don't have to do this detailed, but I'm just telling you where I was starting. So I wrote it all out. I wrote out everything I ate for 2 weeks. And it was pretty quick that I started noticing, oh man, that's why I'm not hungry. I'm eating all this creamer and has a whole lot of sugar in it and a whole lot of fat. And so I wasn't really hungry. So I was not taking in the right nutrition because I was getting a lot of calories from creamer. So that was a pretty aha moment for me. And I really didn't even like it that much. It was the reason I was putting all that creamer in there is because it was gross coffee, honestly. So what I did was I found a different drink that I could drink. I started using water flavors. I didn't like water. I didn't drink much water back then. I was trying to make myself drink water, right? And so I got Crystal Light. Not saying it's the greatest thing in the world for you health-wise, but at that time it was way better than me drinking all that creamer, right? So it was a step in the right direction. That was an easy switch for me. Impact-wise, it actually had quite a bit of an impact, right? So I wrote out all of these things that I thought I could do. And I bet if you sat down and you thought, okay, what are 20 things that I could do that would have an impact on my nutrition and I might be able to do? Actually, don't even think about whether or not it's easy. Just think about whether or not it'll have an impact. Write out 20 things. And then you're going to take it and you're going to plot it. How high of an impact is it going to have? And then how easy is it for me to get to do? Just stick them on your little graph. When you're done, you're looking to have 2 to 3 things in this golden habits square, right? So like I said, for me, creamer was an easy one. I just quit drinking coffee and then I found Spark. And that was another substitute for me to get my caffeine without getting my calories. And it was just an easy switch for me. So those are the things that I could do. What was harder for me, so on this hard side, but still had a good impact, was me finding protein sources that I liked. Okay, at that time, I didn't understand a lot about fats. I thought we weren't supposed to eat fats, and we'll talk more about that as we get on with nutrition and get more in depth. But so I was really struggling to find lean protein that I could eat because I thought I needed no fat, and that was really hard for me. So I did find, took some trial and error, some protein shakes that I could drink to help beef up my protein. I also found that I could eat some eggs, and eggs in the morning were quick to eat, quick to cook, and I could put them a whole. I could put peppers in them. I could put mushrooms in them. I could put tomatoes in them. Oh man, if you take some Rotel tomatoes, put them in with your eggs, it's bomb.com. So I found ways that I can make eggs really fast in the morning and get my protein up. So do this for yourself. This is an exercise that I want you to do. Like I said, write out 20 things. If you get 2 to 3 that are up here, the higher up and out on the corner you can get, awesome. If you do it and you have nothing in this quadrant, that's fine. Write out 20 more things. I promise you probably know 2 to 3 things that you could do right now that really are probably pretty easy for you to implement, and they're going to have some level of impact, okay? So start there. That's where to start. And if this was helpful, awesome. Let me know. Please, share with me what parts are helpful, what questions you have, because that's how this content's going to get better. That's how I'm going to be able to serve your needs better and better. And feel free to share. We are starting an online-only course, so these types of more general things can be available to folks. I've had a lot of requests for people who don't even live in Louisiana, and I can't, I'm not licensed in other states, so I can't coach them that way, and I can't just be one-on-one with everybody. So if this is helpful and you want to share this, we do have an online platform where that can happen, and you guys can let me know. We will be also having live sessions, so you guys can come and ask questions live, and it's really helpful if you do that because, your question somebody else might have, or you might spark something in someone else to make them understand something a little bit different. So be looking out for those live sessions, and I just thank you very much for tuning in. I hope that this was helpful. Key number 1, optimize nutrition.